A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11 and Ritwika Gupta. As part of our year-ender episodes, we are having a panel discussion today talking about entrepreneurship, funding, and what makes for a compelling pitch to potential investors. On the show tonight, I'll be joined by Kunal Bahl, co-founder Titan Capital and Snapdeal, Manish Chowdhury, co-founder Wow Skin Science, and Anisha Singh, founding partner at Capital. Anisha, Manish, Kunal, thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now Leaders of Tomorrow. So I'd like to kickstart the interview by asking all three of you a similar question. If you can share what got you kickstarted in your entrepreneurial journey. Let's start with you, Anisha. You have an interesting story from working in the US to founding Maidala in India and eventually establishing Capital. How has your journey been?
There was a time in life I had sworn that I don't want to be an entrepreneur. I want a regular paycheck. I wanted that security. So it's ironic that I ended up on this side, which was all highs and lows and no security. But my first venture, so I've been a founder since 2004. And I moved back to India then to start my first company, which I did with I basically did a digital marketing company, which I ended up selling to another company in the US, in Salt Lake City, US. And then I moved back in 2009 and did a startup and became a part of the startup ecosystem. And since then, I've basically been a part of this fascinating ecosystem. So it's been, back and forth, but I was always very clear that I'm going to move back into India and I'm going to do something on my own and I want to build something after I had seen a phenomenal female founder. And so for me, I think the importance of leaders and mentors is very, very important because you see role models and you want to be them, especially for females. And that's what happened to me. I saw an amazing female founder and I wanted to be her. That's why I changed my mindset and I ended up my entrepreneurial journey.
Fantastic. Kunal, coming to you, tell me, how would you define your entrepreneurial journey? What was the gap you were trying to meet?
Yeah, my journey as an entrepreneur started 16 years ago. And, having built now multiple businesses in e-commerce, software, etc., I embarked on the journey of supporting the next generation of founders. Because at least when I was starting in 2007, there wasn't much of an ecosystem to support founders. And so around 2011, I started investing alongside with my co-founder, business partner, Rohit, in startups that were starting up then. And since then, now it's been 12 years since I've been investing in very early stage companies and have supported about 275 plus of them. Over this period, and it's very fulfilling, and I really do consider myself quite blessed that I'm able to wear both hats at the same time of operating businesses as well as investing in the next generation of leaders across various segments of the startup ecosystem and various segments of the economy also now.
Wonderful. Over to you, Manish. Tell us your story.
So entrepreneurship has been in my DNA from a very young age. I started off my first journey as an entrepreneur with a retailing computer for large MNC brands. I was a reseller at that time. I didn't understand what is a value creation on building a brand.
Sure.
That went down under. I was a failed entrepreneur that time. It took me a couple of years to come back and build something else. And that's when I created Wow Skin Science. It's going to be close to 10 years. Still in that journey of making it large, but been exciting. Plenty of ups and few challenging ones. I'm in that stage where I'm loving to give back to the ecosystem, supporting young entrepreneurs, learn from the mistakes I have made so that they don't have.
Excellent. Circling back to you, Kunal, as an investor yourself, tell us what specific qualities or aspects do you prioritize when evaluating startups who are seeking funding? Are there certain strategies that stand out to you as indicators, of a startup's potential for success?
at the end of the day, what we're all seeking as investors in companies and the founders is actually incredible amount of passion for the problem statement that they're trying to go after, or the opportunity that they're going after. Because unless you have that deep level of conviction and passion around the idea, you're not going to be able to go past many of the problems that you're going to face in this journey. It'll be easy to give up if you don't really believe in what you're doing. But that said, there are obviously a few attributes which are very critical from an investor standpoint. First and foremost is just the quality of the team. Have they demonstrated success in anything else in life prior hand, at another business, at a job, academics, sports, dance, music, anything? Have they demonstrated success? Because to be successful at absolutely anything, you need to have tremendous work ethic, tremendous conviction, tremendous focus. So if you have that, that's a very critical quality. The second is obviously the nature of the opportunity itself. Is it an attractive market? Is it a market where you can dominate a part of the market and then grow your business from there? And the third would be just the ability to generate unit economics, like quality, positive economics in the business. Because the purpose of the business is really to make a profit, because if you are making a profit, can you sustain it and endure it over a long enough period of time and create broader impact around you in society and the country. So it's largely those three things: the quality of the team, the quality of the opportunity, the quality of the market, as well as the ability to generate positive unit economics in the business. But I think all of that gets superseded by just the depth of passion and the intensity and the fire that the founders have in the pursuit of the opportunity they've identified for themselves.
Sure. Manish, coming to you, in your recent post on LinkedIn, you emphasize the importance of opportunity, mentorship, and exposure for budding entrepreneurs. Tell me, what role does mentorship play in your view?
Yeah, mentorship is so key in today's ecosystem. To be honest, I also do have mentors even today who are helping us at board level as well as on our day-to-day, whatever we require. Mentorship is so important, right? Taking so much of guidance from individuals who have been there, done there, who have built their businesses, but also it's up to us how much we can grasp or absorb, how much we need information from a mentor, right? And looking at what we did at this show, I think it's been incredible. The contribution on how much Anisha, Kunal, myself brought to 10 of the contestants who were there in the show. You will go into the in-depth onto how the hustle bustle they have on their daily activities on building a business, right? It looks also rosy for so many of us, right? Coming and posting on LinkedIn, but a lot of people don't know behind the scenes what kind of pain, what embarrassing situations we go through, how do we adapt and cope to failures. I think it's going to be inspiring and giving a lot of insight to a lot of people viewing the show.
Absolutely. Anisha, I want to bring you in here. Tell me, from the time you have started, how have you seen the entrepreneurial landscape evolving in India, especially for women?
Now, when you talk to any female founder, the quality that you're seeing of founders come through is just brilliant. And tailgating on what Manish said, all this is possible because you're seeing more and more role models and mentors in the system, right? We're seeing such amazing female founders accomplish so much, and you're seeing them, take companies public. You're seeing so many of them out there, and with that happening, what we're seeing is a newer slew of female founders come through, just doing phenomenal stuff. So it's brilliant to see how the ecosystem has grown. You'll never go to an event now where there's only one or two of us any longer. There's actually an entire ecosystem of founders that is there, that is supporting each other, which is very heartening to see.
Fantastic. Kunal, coming to you, Snapdeal has experienced both highs and lows. Tell me, how do you approach adversity, and what would your advice be for entrepreneurs to overcome setbacks?
Look, setbacks are a part of any entrepreneur's journey, and there will be very high highs and there will be sometimes very low lows. But what is most important is when you're at the bottom of the abyss, when you feel that there's almost nothing that you can think of that will get you out of that rut. There's nobody you can talk to whose advice will help you. That is what is called the bottom of the abyss. And at just that very moment, finding that little bit of courage to continue is what is critical to come out of a tough situation. Many people unfortunately give up when they're at the bottom of the abyss because they feel that there is no way out now. But all successful founders find that little bit of courage when most other people will not have courage at that moment. And you realize that slowly the situation starts turning. And every setback is a setup for a comeback, right? You will have setbacks, but it also ensures that gives you strong footing, strong learnings, wisdom, and courage to come back even stronger. And so obviously I've had many learnings of my own as an entrepreneur, as an investor, and at least I try that the next generation of founders, the next cohort of founders, learn from some of my learnings and don't at least make the same mistakes. They'll make some new ones, but at least I want to avoid them having to make the same mistakes again.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11, discussing entrepreneurship and much more today with Kunal Bahl, co-founder at Titan Capital and Snapdeal, Manish Chowdhury, co-founder of Wowskin Science, and Anisha Singh, founding partner at She Capital. Listen in. Manish, the panel discussion is also part of our year-ender episodes. I want to talk a bit about the personal care sector, which is highly competitive in India. Tell me, how does Wowskin Science stay ahead in the game? What's been your strategy to meet changing consumer preferences in the beauty and wellness space?
New generation brands like us are using the power of the internet to grow their businesses, right? What are we competing against? We're competing against time. We're also looking at how can we differentiate ourselves from the rest of the other brands which exist over years, right? And that's what digitally we've been set up for, kind of, can't say success, but we at least have a path to build large businesses, all thanking e-commerce and the digital era we live in. But at our end, we continue to emphasize a lot on technology, innovation, and also continue to build our brand strength a lot more year on year, which is so critical, right? Why should a brand exist? Why should consumers buy us? That is something where brands like us, as we age, right? That is something what we'll continue to push the pedal on to make it large. So times are changing. Today, you're looking at addressing Gen Z millennials as consumers. That's also challenges for brands which have existed for so long. How do you address them? How do you attract them? That is something what we are looking at mastering over time.
Anisha, as the founder of She Capital, tell me, what advice would you offer to aspiring entrepreneurs, especially women, on navigating the process of seeking funding for their businesses? What key factors do you believe makes a pitch compelling to potential investors?
I think there is no better time in the ecosystem than now to start up. Reason being, when we started out, there was, the ecosystem was not this evolved. And now there is so much that is going on that the VC ecosystem has evolved. As investors, we are there. The government is doing so much. There is so much just in general happening, mentorship, so much happening that I think anybody who's sitting on the sidelines wondering, is now the time? I think there is no better time. And now is the time to start up. In terms of anybody who's looking to pitch, especially female founders, I think the only thing that I request is, don't self-doubt. That's one of the things that we need to work on in general as founders. And I've been a female founder and equally guilty of it. That's the only thing that I see a differentiation on, which is the self-doubt aspect in terms of, when you're pitching to investors. Otherwise, I tell founders in general, you've got to have, just because starting up is trendy does not mean you start up, right? You start up when you have a great idea or something where you're solving a problem. That's where you start. And you have to know that the founder journey is not an easy journey. It's a really hard journey. Yes, you're hearing of success stories and everything, but behind every success story, there's a lot of struggle, there's a lot of grit. And for female founders in general, my only request is don't doubt yourself, just and do your homework on your investors. Whoever you're going to reach out to, please do your homework. Don't, send out blank emails. Nobody likes that. You walk up to somebody, you should know whether they're actually going to look to invest in you. And nothing is personal. An investor and a founder relationship is like a marriage. Not all work out. So you shouldn't be, you shouldn't take rejection. Rejection sabko bahut milti hai zindagi mein. So don't get dejected with one rejection. All of us sitting here have been through a lot of rejections. So that's only a stepping stone. You'll find your right investor. It's like kissing a lot of frogs. You'll find your investor.
Fantastic. Kunal, I want to bring you in here. Tell me, are there common misconceptions or pitfalls that you believe entrepreneurs should be mindful of in their pursuit of funding and growth?
Well, I feel funding is just one of the many, many aspects of the arc of company building, which is long and complicated and not a straight line either. And so beyond just fundraising, which gets all the attention, actually, the actual methodology of building a good business with strong foundation needs to get more focus. So, and that comes from having a lot of focus. To be world class at anything, you need to be excellent at it. And to be excellent, you need to have focus. And oftentimes companies early on start taking a portfolio approach. They start doing too many things, thinking one of these will work. But in the early days, you have finite amount of time, finite number of people, finite amount of capital. You have to just magnify that, laser focus that on one opportunity that you truly, truly believe in and go all in on that. That is the only way. And alongside that, obviously focus on all the things that we hear about, which sound cliches, but are incredibly critical. Make sure you're creating customer delight. Make sure that anything that you're building, it's at least a 10x better solution than anyone else who's been servicing the same customer with, B2B or B2C products and services, as well as ensuring that you're building the right team, not a very large team, not spending too much money, not over hiring, but building a compact team early on and building the right culture around that team of great transparency, open communication. These are the attributes, these are the elements of building a lasting, enduring business, where you set the trajectory of the business right from the get-go.
So Manish, coming back to you, your journey from adversity to success is inspiring. Tell me, what piece of advice would you give to individuals, who might be facing doubts in their entrepreneurial journey, especially during the initial stages?
My advice to all would be, taking a call of judging how large the TAM is so important, right? How big the market size is. Is it your right to win? Is this something which I'm going to build for decades to come? Is something what is a good starting point for so many of them. And also my advice to a lot of young entrepreneurs who have seen, they're always very scared of failing, right? I think in my mind, I've always told that as a startup, you have the license to fail, you have a license to experiment. That's so important, because if you don't fail at an early stage, I'm not saying that failing means just going bust.
Absolutely.
But failing on a lot of things which you always thought would work. And in my life, I've always seen that being an entrepreneur, there's so many things what I thought would be gangbusters and which would have done really well have been one of the biggest failures I've ever done, right? So that is something which you need to continue to do. And always my advice has been celebrate small victories. We always forget, the smallest victories we do, record sales in the month, you built a new SKU and it did well. All those things are some things which you should celebrate as a culture. I think those are some things which attributes to a culture of winning and taking your losses well.
And my final question to you, Anisha, our show is also watched by a lot of young entrepreneurs, small business owners and female founders as well. I know you've partly addressed this in your previous answers, but if there were a few things that you think could make India's startup and business ecosystem more inclusive and supportive of SMEs and entrepreneurs and female founders, what would that be?
If there is ever an ecosystem that I'm hopeful where the gender gap is going to be closed, it's in the Indian startup ecosystem. So from by and large, and because I've been in a part of this ecosystem from 2009, I know how great and supportive it is. I think the responsibility lies on ourselves as well as females to get up there, push ourselves, get past the self-doubt. There is a lot that is going on in general with so many amazing grants. And this is not just for female founders, by the way. There is a lot going on that the government is doing for founders in general in terms of creating a supportive ecosystem. Then there is the investors that are doing that. There's a whole mentor network and the founders that are giving back to the ecosystem. So I think there's a lot that is happening where a lot of the, there's a saying that it takes a village to raise a child. It's been the same. Here, the village has come together, not just for female founders, but for new founders in general. And I think now is the time. If you're looking to do anything, this is a perfect place to be doing it. Plus, there's a saying that if you can drive in India, you can drive anywhere. I believe if you can start up in India, you can start up anywhere. So better now, we're seeing that happen. We're seeing founders from Bharat build for Bharat, but you're also seeing founders from Bharat now build for the world. And we're seeing more and more of that happen. And the great thing is seeing a lot of amazing female founders do that as well and scale globally.
Well, it was great chatting with all three of you. I think our viewers had a lot to take away. Thank you so much for being on ET Now Leaders of Tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ritwika, for having us on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 11. We hope you enjoyed the discussion. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.